The next one, and we'll get it put up in a second, is what really happened at the Council of Nicea. That's one that y'all alluded to a bunch of times. Describe what it was and what exactly happened.
Okay, so what certain proponents of Kemet will try to say, they'll say that the Bible was invented at Nicaea, Christianity was created at Nicaea, and then Jesus was invented at Nicaea. So they were real busy at Nicaea. What really happened was there was an argument between two African men about the essence of Jesus. So you had Athanasius, who was Orthodox, whom understood that Jesus was begotten and not made. That's why when you read the Nicene Creed, it says he was begotten and not made. Then you had Arius. Arius believed that Jesus was a created being. Now, this is important. These two African men are arguing about Christianity. Therefore, it couldn't have been invented at Nicaea. They're arguing about something that already exists. 12 years prior to the council, Constantine issued the Edict of Milan. The Edict of Milan was to stop the persecution, again, of Christians, because, again, it already existed and it was growing fast after his resurrection and the apostles and people testifying about him. So what really happened, there were two African men, one Orthodox, the other whom we consider a heretic. And so Jehovah's Witness doctrine is a form of Arianism. That's a form of Arianism. And that's what happened there. So the idea that Christianity was created is just historically inaccurate. The Bible being created there, again, that's historically inaccurate. That was another council, and the Bible wasn't created at this council, but they wanted to distinguish against the Apocrypha versus the inspired books, and that was the Council of Carthage at 397. So we got to, again, this is history. So even if you don't believe in Jesus, you can't make up stuff. What happened there historically was two African men talking about the essence of Jesus. That's what happened at the Council of Nicea. Yeah. Good.
Also, you can bring up too, just for people that want to say Christianity started there, ask them what about the Edict of Milan, which is 313. Right. Christians was already being persecuted at that time. They already had books and doctrine at that time. So if they were being persecuted at that time, how could it just start in 325? And we've already had canonization going on since 150 AD amongst the African church, or which was soon to be the African church.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, originally we do have to admit that Constantine did have a motive with the Council of Nicea, and his motive was to unify the empire. He preferred Arianism because Arianism had grown hugely in the eastern end of the Roman Empire towards Turkey and different places like that, which is modern day Turkey. And so he actually Athanasius, the short, dark-skinned, round-nosed dude, was standing, defending the faith as it pertains to what we talked about yesterday, hypostatic union, two natures of Christ, and Jesus' relationship with the Father, whereas Arianism wanted to promote Jesus being a created being. That was more easily believable than Jesus being deity, and so he thought the spread of the empire would happen more quickly with a less difficult doctrine to believe. And so, and that's where you get the writings of Eusebius and him being sort of included in the church, in the fathers. But what happened is, and a lot of people don't know, that actually Athanasius got exiled from the empire by Constantine, even though orthodoxy won at the. He didn't want. In other words, he wanted the empire. He didn't really care about orthodoxy. So orthodoxy ended up winning, which meant that there was going to be a minority view. And a heresy, he wanted the heresy to spread because he wanted the empire to spread, not because he wanted the heresy to spread, because it was easier to believe. Therefore, when he made Christianity the religion of the empire, he wanted to allow heretical doctrines, not biblical Christianity, to necessarily pervade it. And so what actually happened at Nicaea is it was a fight for orthodoxy. When that fight for orthodoxy won over with that group, Athanasius ended up getting exiled from the empire, but later he returned out of exile as a bishop.
Awesome. All right, next question.